All right then. So first, what we have to do is we have to fetch the songs by the title. So let me close all these things. Let me close everything. So let's get back to your actions folder. So over here, this is the one which we need to copy. So copy and duplicate this. Okay. And I'm going to rename this file folder as, so this is going to be, let's rename this file. So let's say get songs by title. This is the one, get songs by the title, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rename this get songs. I'm going to rename this get songs by title. Apart from that, nothing else is going to be changed. It's going to be the same promise array, because based on if you're searching something, so it's need to return. So over here, if you have a look, so for instance, let's say if I'm searching something, for instance, let's say, so I type and it's waiting for a few milliseconds, and if you see here, it's returning the list of songs, whatever it's matching that specific text, right? You can see it's returning an array. So that's what, so every time whenever I'm typing something, it's need to wait for a few milliseconds, then it need to hit the server. So if you're constantly typing and if it's constantly fetching the data from the server, so it's going to cost us a lot. Once you push your site to the production, the API cost will be huge, right? So what I'm going to do is, so this is the place, it's going to be the same, and what I need to do is I need to get the title first. So this is the parameter and it's going to be the string, so I need to get the title, the so what I need to do is, if there is no title, if not title, then what I'm going to say, const all songs is equals to await get the songs. We have to get all the songs from the get songs, right? Then we have to return all songs, which means if there is no title, then we need to return all the songs. So if there is a title, is that the case, then it's going to come over here, right? So here from the songs, we need to fetch the songs and we need to select all the documents. Along with that, I'm going to add one more. It's going to be the I like. Okay, it's like a like, and I'm going to search in this specific field, title, title, and it should match this specific string pattern, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the percentage sign. Okay, and inside here I'm going to give the title. Okay, sure. So this is going to fetch all the details which matches the string whatever we are typing over here, right? Either the complete title or the matching character parameters, right? So this is going to be, that's it. So save the changes. Now we have the get songs by title. Then what we have to do is we have to create a new page. So I'm going here, and inside the app I'm going to create a new folder called search, and inside the search, now what we have to do is we have to create a new file called page.txx. Let me create a new file called page.tsx, and this page.tsx is going to be let's say sfc, and I'm going to say search, and inside here I'm just going to create a div which is going to display the text as search. Save it. All right, so now over here, if I hit the search, and now you can see we are getting the search page which is rendered successfully over here, right? And we should not catch this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say export const revalidate is equals to 0. So revalidate variable is going to be 0, so we are not going to cache this entire page, right? So here for this page is going to take a specific props. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so interface search props, which is going to be, and search params. So we are going to use the search params. So search params is the instance, it's an object, and it's going to have the property called title, title, and it's going to be the string type, string. Okay, that's the property, and I need to supply this over here. So async, and for this I need to get the search params from where, from the search props. So over here, so I'm just going to say search params, which is going to from search props. So search params is the object that we are going to get it from where, from the search props. All right, so say these changes. And then now what we have to do is to inside here, I need to fetch all these songs which matches the title. So over here, I'm just going to say const songs is equals to await get songs by title. And then I need to supply the title parameter inside in it. So search parents dot title, which is inside in it. That's a string, and it will pass the empty string initially. So it's going to return all the songs over here, right? So save these changes. Now there is no issues at all. So far, no issues at all over here, which means if it is any error is happening over here, which means that we while fetching the songs by title, we are getting an issue. So far, there is no issues, right? Then what I have to do, I need to get the artist data also. So artist equals to await get artist. Save these changes, right? So now we have the artist details and everything. So over here now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an empty div, and inside this div, I'm just going to make sure class name, which is going to be hatchful and widthful and overflow hidden and overflow white auto. Save these changes. And inside here, now I need to bring the header section first, header. So for that, I'm going to import the header component from our custom header component, which we created. So let me break it over here. And for this, we need to supply the child nodes. So over here, I'm just going to say h2, and here search here by song title. That's it. So now we should get the search here by song title. This is what we are getting over here. Cool. Now for this h2 tag, I'm just going to add few more styles. h2 is equals to my4 margin top and bottom, and text excel, the size of it excel, and font bold, and text neutral 400. Save the changes. All right. So now you should get this. All right. So now after here, if you have a look over here, we need to bring this input field, right? So in order to get that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component over here. So this is the search input field section. So here I'm just going to create a new field called search input component. And of course, if you save this, you will run into an error because we know that search input is not yet created. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to copy this, and I'm going to create a new component over here under the components folder. I'm going to say search component.tsx, and okay, so now inside the search input, so what I need to do is I need to make sure this is the client, use client. Let's make sure this as the use client, right? So use client, and right after here sfc, and I'm going to bring this as the search input. And inside here for I'm just going to create a div which is going to display the search input. Save these changes, and let me import it over here so we don't need to run into any unwanted issues. So now it's refreshing, and you should be able to see search in, okay, I think my bad, input spelling wrong, search input, right? So now we are getting that component which is loaded successfully. So now in order to get this query string, so once I loaded the search page, if you wonder here, you can see if I click this, if I'm typing something, I should get that query string over here. So to generate that query string, what I need to do is I need to import that, install a new package. So let's import a new package called query string. So 1 second. Where it is? Yep. So here npm install query hyphen string query string, enter. So this should install that package. Okay, so query string. So now what I have to do is I have to fetch that information. So over here, right after here, I'm just going to say const router is equals to use router. From where? From next navigation, right? Then I need to get the value. So I'm going to create a new state over here, use state, and I'm going to say value which is going to be the set value, and it's going to be initially string, and it's going to be the type of string. Okay, save these changes. And then now what I have to do is I have to make sure this, see, if I'm typing over here, for instance, if I'm searching something like nature or something, so it's waiting for a few milliseconds, right? So until the user finish typing the keyboard, after finish typing, it needs to wait for a few milliseconds to before fetching the songs based on the title from our database. So that's what we need to do. In order to do that, I'm going to create a custom hook. So over here, I'm going to create a new hook in the new hooks folder called use debounce. So we need to set a debounce value for 500 milliseconds. So it's need to wait 500 milliseconds before doing something. So use debounce. Okay. So now inside here, what I need to do is I'm going to create a new function. So const use debounce. Use debounce. Okay. Make sure they are spelling same. Use debounce. And let's make sure here const use debounce, it's equals to, okay. And now this is going to be the type of t, and this is going to return the values, something like value colon with the type of t, and we need to get the delay, which is going to be an optional parameter, and that is going to be a number. Okay, delay. And of course it's going to return the t as a type, and it's going to be a callback function. Okay, so now you should not get any issues over here. So don't worry about this warning over here. So we will fix it eventually. So const, I'm going to create a new value over here. So use state is equals to, first we need to set debounce. Okay, and initially it's going to be the value. It's going to have the value parameter which we are passing in it, and it's going to be the type of t. Okay. So argument type text is not assignable to, oops, this is not a text, this is t. That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so then I'm going to create a use effect. So use effect hook, open it, and it's going to take an empty array dependency, and inside here I'm going to pass the value and the delay effect. Okay, delay timing. And inside this function, what I'm going to do is, so const timer is equals to set timeout, open it, and it's going to call a callback function. And here I'm just going to say set debounce value with that value, and then it should delay for a certain limit. If you are passing the delay, it will takes the delay value. If you're not passing the delay, it will takes the 500 milliseconds as the default delay timing. So if all says so, then what I need to do, I need to return a callback function by clearing that timeout, clear timeout with that timer. So whatever the timer I set, I need to clear the timer, right? And at the end, after this, I need to return the debounce value. Return the debounce. So once you added the return statement, you can see the error, whatever we are getting over here, it's been returned. It's been cleared out. And finally, I need to export this. So export default as use debounce value. So what basically this custom hook is going to be, it's going to get the custom type with the value and the delay as a number, and that is going to return the custom type as t. So basically t is the custom type which we are creating, and it's going to have these two properties in it. And then we are having a custom hook with we're having a custom state with that specific type, which means the type is going to have the value and the number in it, right? And inside here we are going to set the debounce value, whatever the value we are passing in it, it will be added over here, but it will wait for 500 milliseconds after that to return that value. So that's what we are doing over here. So here now I have to get back, and here inside the search input, now what I need to do is, right after here, const debounce value is equals to use debounce, open it, and I need to make sure that is the type, whatever the type which I'm sending over here, that type will be assigned over here, right? So I'm sending it as a string, and I'm sending the value in it, and I'm sending the 500 milliseconds. So by default itself, we set it over here 500. If you wish to keep any other values also, that's fine. Or even if you're not giving this value, that will work perfectly fine because we added the default delay value over there, right? In this case, I'm just going to leave it as empty over here, okay? Or I can keep it as 450 milliseconds, right? Something like that, right? After here, I'm going to keep the use effect, open it, enter, and it's going to have the array of dependency, and inside here I'm going to supply the dbounce value, and along with that it need to check the router. Every time whenever the router is changing, means the route is changing, it's need to re-render it. Right, so first I need to get the query. So in order to work with the query, so we added the query string package. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to import that query string. So make sure that is imported separately. Import qs from where? Query string, this one, hyphen string, right? So from there, now what I need to do, make sure that you are using query hyphen string, not query string, which is showing or suggestions over there. Okay, so here I'm just going to say const query is equals to, open it, and the title, I'm going to fix the title with the dbounce value, whatever the value we got the dbounce, so that's the value it's going to be. So initially the state value is passing over here, so that value will be set to the dbounce, and that be passed up over here, wait for a few seconds, and returned back to the dbounce, and that will be assigned to our query, right? So every time whenever you are assigning the state, it will be passed to the dbounce, and it will be waited for 450 milliseconds, then it will be returned back over here, right? So that will be assigned back to our title. So once you got the query, now what I need to do, I need to set const URL is equals to qs.stringify URL, open it, and create an object. Inside I'm gonna use the URL, and that is going to be the search URL, that's our main route URL. Then right after here, enter, I need to supply the query, which is going to our custom query, which our query parameter, right? Then what I need to do, I need to push this router. So router dot push that specific URL. Okay, so save these changes, right? So in order to return, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to return our input component, which we created from by ourselves. And this input component it should have a class name. So of course the bg, it's going to be the black color for that input field, and we need to add some shadow, and py, it's going to be 3, and text size, it's going to be base, and placeholder here I'm just going to say, what do you want to listen? Okay, so this is what I'm going to add it as a placeholder, and I'm going to supply the value, which is going to be our value, and on change, from that on change event, we are going to get that event in the callback function, and set value as e.target.value. So every time whenever the states gets updated, and that will be passed to this custom hook, it will wait for a few seconds, and it will be returned to this query, and the query will push that to this URL, right? Let's save these changes, and let's run up our application, npm run dev, and refresh it over here. Okay, so it's loading. It's taking more than a while. Okay, so here we go. So now this input field is rendered up over here, right? So now if I'm typing something, let's say test, it's waiting few seconds, and you can see that it's pushed up over there. So if I am deleting this completely, it's waiting few seconds, then it's remove it from there, right? So that's what we are trying to do over here. That's the reason that we have the dbounce value. So now what I need to do is, so let's get back to the page.tsx, right? So I need to pass the content. So now it will fetch this value from this get songs details. Every time whenever the search parameters get updated, this title, this will fetch the details from the songs. So now we have the real songs in our hand. So now what I need to do is, I need to supply that, and I need to display it. So div is equals to class name, width, of course it's going to be full, and flux, it's going to be 1. And inside here I need to display the search content. So I'm going to create a new component called search content. It's going to be songs. It's going to have a property called songs, and I'm going to return these songs into it. And also it's going to have the properties called artist, and I'm going to return the artist data into it, right? So now let's go ahead and create this component. So don't save this, otherwise it will shows an error. So here I'm going to create a new components folder, components, and inside this components folder I'm going to create the search component.tsx, right? Now inside the search component, of course, first what we have to do, we have to make sure this is the client folder, use client, and we need to create a prop interface search content props. So we need to define two props. One is going to be songs, and it's going to have the song type as an array, and another one we need to have the artist, and that is going to be the artist type as an array, right? And now what I need to do, let's say sfc, and here I'm going to use the search content, and inside here so far I'm going to return this as a search content. And here what I need to do is, inside the search content, we are going to we need to make sure this component is using this type. So react, this is not necessary, so react.fc, and it's going to be the search content props, and need to extract the songs and as well as the artists, right? So save this changes, and let's get back over here and let's import this, save it. Now you should get the search content which is displaying over here, right? So now we are getting the search content. So far there is no issues, and now we have our artist details, the songs details inside this component. Now what I need to do is I need to make sure the song's length. So if we have the songs, then their length should be greater than 0. If it is equals to 0, then what I need to do, I need to say no songs to return. So in order to do that, I'm going to return, and I'm going to say div, and I'm going to say no songs found, and this is going to be flex. Of course, width is going to be full, and it's going to be item center, justify center, and the text color is going to be the neutral 400. Save these changes, right? So now we are getting the search content. If I am typing something else, it's fetching, and you should see this no songs found, right? So now if there is a songs, we are getting the search content, right? In order to remove this, now I'm going to delete this, I'm going to return it, and I'm going to create a div, and this div is going to be a class name, and it's going to be a grid, and it's going to be grid column 1 from small device, from the large device grid column 2. It's better, what we can do is, instead of typing the same stuff again, I'm going to home screen, components, page context, and this exactly the same there. So I'm going to copy this and get back over here, and I'm going to replace this, right? Inside here, now what I have to do, I need to render these songs. So just exactly the same stuff. Let's get back to the same page content. This is the same thing that we have to do. I'm going to copy this song item, or no, we need to design a different component. Okay, so song item doesn't have, see if you check over here, so this song, it's looking, this UI is looking different, but if you check in the home screen, that is looking different, right? So in order to do that, now let's go here, and right after here I need to render the songs. So songs dot map function, and I'm going to get the item one after another, then I'm going to display it over here with a paragraph tag. First I need to make sure whether I'm getting the data or not. So this is going to be item.id, and inside here I'm just going to say item dot title. Save these changes. Now you should get all the songs titles over here. So now if I'm changing if I'm searching for scat, nothing is there. So if I'm searching for nature, I should get a single song over here. Cool. So which means it's working perfectly how it's supposed to be. Now instead of displaying a paragraph tag, I'm going to create a media item. Okay, this, it's not there, so we have to create this media items. So let's go ahead and create a new component first to create that media item. Okay, so let me copy this and let me go to the components folder, the group components folder over here, and I'm going to create a new component called tsx media item.tsx, and let's make this as the use client and sfc media component, and it's going to render the division called media component. Save these changes and let's import this. And for this key, so far let's import this media component first. Media component, for this key I'm going to supply the item.id so we don't run into any unique key issues. So now you should get the media item and everything, right? Now what I need to send, so this media item is going to have a props. It need to listen, it's need to receive the properties. So media item props, open it. It's need to receive the data, which is going to be the song type, and it's need to receive the artist to display the artist information. So it's need to be the artist type. Then we need to get the class name. It's need to have a custom styles. If you want to make sure to customize it, you need to get the class name, and it's going to be the string. All right, then we need to have the on click function. So we need to get the on click function, and of course it's going to pass the id as a string type, and it's going to return the void. It's not going to return any specific. That's the prop, and we need to make sure that it's passed up over here. So react.fc, and which is going to be the media item props, and inside here let's get the data, artist, class name, and on click. These are the properties. Save these changes and let's go up over here. Now let's apply the data. So for the data I'm going to supply the item, and for artist, so now for the artist what I have to do is for the artist data, so I'm gonna use the filter. So artist dot filter, open it. I'm going to get the artist inside here in this function. So artist, or let's say person, that's a person, right? So let's get that person. So that person dot id should be equals to item dot artist id. If it says so, then we have to return that artist, and it will return the array, but we don't need the array. I need to return the object alone. So I'm going to fetch the first index and I'm going to return it to the artist object. Then we need to return the on click function. So far this is going to be an empty on click function. Save this, right? So now we have successfully passed the data, artist details, and everything inside this media item. And now inside this written inside the media item, so we have to go ahead and start designing that media item. So let's go ahead and do that next.